What is up, dudes and lady dudes? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we've got another deck profile for you. This time we're doing a really interesting one because we're actually looking at Striker. Hold on. There we go, ELDLICH. It's a really interesting deck, mixing and matching two archetypes that are very good control archetypes. I would say ELDLICH is like the most splashable, like best just by itself like control engine at the moment, just because it can work with so many different things and it does what it does so well. And at the time, Striker was the best control deck, and if it had Engage, it'd still be the best control deck. I don't think anybody doubts that. But the deck has some really awesome synergies. I saw this idea, I thought about it before, but I was like, does it really work? Because I had been looking at Striker stuff and I was like, if it's a pure Striker list, I don't think I'd change that much from what I'd been playing prior. But then I saw that a man by the name of Josh, apparently he has his own YouTube channel, Bean Soldier TV. I saw it on Distant Coder's channel. I'll try and link, if I remember, I'll link his channel in the description below. Bean Soldier TV, though. Check him out. He has some cool videos on there, and I just want to give him props because he was the one that gave me the idea. This is just my build, my version of the same idea, because it really is like an awesome idea. So, alright, let's just jump into it. Without further ado, let's start off with the monsters. You really don't go crazy here, just 3 Ray and 2 ELDLICH. There's not really much to say here other than just, Ray is Ray, and then ELDLICH is ELDLICH. Where I think whenever you're not playing pure ELDLICH, 2 ELDLICH is the way to go, and then Ray is just amazing for strikers. So, yeah, that's actually the only monsters we play in the entire list, by the way. You can play hand traps if you want. It just feels like the format, it feels like one of those formats where you're just like, why, though? Like, why do I need that? So, I don't know. I'm not opting to play them, but you can if you want to. Alright, moving on for spells. Starting off with the spells, we have our Striker stuff, starting off with the 3, Area 0, and the Terraforming. Now, a lot of people would opt to play 2 in 1, just because like you don't want to open too many copies of it, and I get that. I really do. But here's the thing. Opening this plus like Cursed Eldland is like so insane. When you really think about how much advantage you get off of that, you're going to add a card off Cursed Eldland. You're going to use Area 0 to send Cursed Eldland to get yourself, and if you rip a Striker spell off the top, or a Striker card off the top, you have a very good chance of doing that, by the way. There's another card, so you just went +2, and you send the Cursed Eldland, which will send another Golden Land card, or an ELDLICH if you want, to then get you another card. Then you can also use ELDLICH, which you might have sent to grave, to send the Area 0 to grave, to special array straight from deck, and then have access to your Striker like monster play. So just off of that, you literally end up with like array, an ELDLICH on field, or in hand. You could just add it to hand and not summon it if you don't want to like lock down your main monster zones. And you'd have a Golden Land in hand. You're going to search another one on end phase. And you're going to like, and you might have hit a Striker card off of the Area 0. So just when you really put it together, like opening this card is like so busted with so many good cards in the deck. I love it. This card's so good in the deck. The synergy is insane with that card. Then you obviously have like some basic Striker lineup cards. You've got obviously the 3 Widow Anchors, you gotta play them. 2 Shark Cannons, you can play 3. I'm opting 2 right now. I have other cards that kind of fit the same bill, so not that worried about it. And then 1 Afterburners, 1 Jamming Waves, and the multi-roll finishing up the lineup there. This is all fairly standard. I know for a while Jamming Waves was considered like really bad. Nobody wanted to play it, but we're actually in a pretty heavy like back row format. So I like having that searchability. I know Afterburners can get you a back row removal and it's recursable, but Jamming Waves is just a little more quick, and you don't have to worry about getting the extra setup. So I think 1 in 1 is fine, and you can side it out obviously if it's not too good in the matchup. But this is pretty standard. Like multi-roll is insane with the deck. Having kind of the same like synergy with like as Area 0, like you get to like send something to then trigger its effect in grave, and just stockpile advantage. It's insane. But yeah, these are all great. By the way, what is it? Widow Anchor to 3 is really nice for strikers. Just being able to not worry about like losing 2 of them in the course of like 2 turns of setting them back with the multi-roll is like really nice. So it doesn't feel like you're that pressed and like worried about like running out like super quickly, which is really good. Then we move to the only Eldritch spell we play, which is just the Cursed Eldling. Like I said, it's literally like this plus Area 0 is like the most insane like combo. You get so much advantage. So you got to play this, obviously. Which takes us to a couple more spells. I'm on 3 Cosmic Cyclone. I don't think this needs to be a 3-of. I just love this card in the format right now. It's literally like, if you're facing anything but Drytron, like this card's like really good. Really good versus almost anything you can expect to face except Drytron. So you gotta love it. Nothing wrong going on here. I'm just all about it. So you could cut it down to 2 if you wanted, or even cut it completely. I know some people might play like Droplets in this slot because Droplets is just such a strong going second card right now. That's a lot better versus stuff like Drytron. But with Virtual World seeming to be a little more popular than Drytron right now, I do like opting for this card instead, because VFD is not that scary, but Chuche is very scary. So removing that is really nice. And then we finish up with a bunch of 1-ups for the spells. 1 Rhoda, this is just another copy of Ray. 1 copy of Card of Demise, because this deck can play it, and if you ever play a deck that can play Card of Demise with little to no like backlash, you play it. 1 Upstart Goblin, because it just puts a spell in grave for free, so that just helps a little bit with the strikers, the striker lineup, and just gets you a little more consistency. And then Called by the Grave, just because certain things in your deck do want to resolve, and it's just such a good generic card. We're in a slower format, and I just like this card because it's like great graveyard disruption, or it allows you to play through certain stuff. So it's just going to come up some way, somehow. But yeah, like Card Demise, when you really think about it, it's just like insane in the deck. Even if you don't keep your whole hand, if you're just like discarding like Eldritch cards, you know what I mean? Discarding, you know what I mean? I don't know. If there's anything, you could discard Eldritch if you don't like want to. Obviously, you're not going to summon him. If you draw him, just send him to grave. That's fine. You send Striker spells, which you're just going to be able to like set off of multi-roll later on anyway. It really just does not matter. This card's insane. If you can play it, you play it, because it's just such a bomb card, man. Your opponent literally could think they're winning the duel, and then like the last card in your hand is Card Demise, and you just like completely steamroll them with advantage. Also, I know we can't summon, but like special summon, but we could just like normal Ray if we drew Ray, and then Ray can just quick effect tag out on the opponent's turn, and that still works just fine. So that is it for all the spells. Moving into the traps, 3 copies of Elixir, Scarlet Sanguine, of course, 3 copies of Conquistador, of course, and 2 copies of Hawkero. I just think since we're combining it, space is a little tight. And we also have so much like removal and disruption utility with the striker stuff as well, between between Shark Cannon and Widow Anchor, that like I'm not that worried about like maxing out on this, but Conquistador is too good not to, in my opinion. So there we go. Those 8 for the traps. Not going too crazy on the ELDLICH engine, because even if you burn through all your ELDLICH engine, you still have like the striker stuff, which is, you know, can carry the rest of the duel home. And then the final cards we have here are just some generic insanely good traps. 3 copies of Solemn Strike, and this would be 2 copies of Ice Dragon's Prison. It could be anything else. I know I'm going to show a couple cards here that aren't super budget, and they're mainly proxied because I don't have them, but I'm just telling you what I would play if I had it. If not, if you don't want to play it, this could be something like Torrential Tribute, where honestly clearing your board is really not that bad, because you have such easy access to get back into striker cards, back into the Eldritch monsters. Like, it's really not that big a deal, and being able to like special summon on your turn, on your opponent's turn, would give you like the flexibility of being able to activate like Torrential Tribute like at any time, which is also really nice. So yeah, I'd consider Torrential Tribute if you wanted to go a lot more budget, or any other trap you think is just good generically. You could play Solemn Judgment, could drop a Cosmic Cyclone and just play a playset of Judgment and Strike and roll with that. Make it a little more better going first. And so yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. That's definitely a flex spot. I mean, I honestly think anything outside of like the actual Eldritch Strike and Striker cards, other than maybe some of the other cards like the Rhoda, the Demise, and like the Upstart, I think a lot of that's just all flex spots. You could play anything you want there that you just think is a generic great card in the format. Book of Moon, other trap cards, Needle Sealing, Torrential Tribute, whatever you want. You know, roll with it. Don't be afraid to make your own decisions there. I just wanted to show you what I would play if I, you know, wasn't on a budget or just had all the cards, you know, had access to all of that. Okay, so moving into the extra deck, we have standard striker stuff, right? Like 3 Kagari, 3 Shizuku, 3 Hayate, one Kaina and one Zeke. I almost would consider playing a second Zeke just because Zeke's just so nice in the deck because you can use it to like link off like either your Golden Lands or your Eldritch on field just to get into striker names and get those things out of the main monster zone so that your striker cards can resolve again. But honestly, we have other cards too we'll get to in a sec. But yeah, this is like the main thing. I also think it's possible to drop a Hayate if you really want more space. And kind of doesn't always come up, but I do really like having her at least as a one-of. So that's pretty standard, but like I said, I would consider maybe dropping a Hattie, maybe playing a second Zeke. It's a really nice card. It comes up all the time, I can promise you that. There, which takes us to a couple of generic links. One, Nightmare Phoenix. This is just also another generic card to get like 2 monsters off the field, get them in the extra monster zone so that your striker cards can resolve in the back row, and also just gives you some back row removal, which is nice. Then a couple proxies. This would be the Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, Link 3. This card's insane. And then one access code. And then the last card is Zeus. So talking about this lineup here, I like whatever. Phoenix is whatever. Just cut stuff out of the main, your main zones. These cards though. Okay. Here's the first thing I want to talk about. I know I have a couple cards in here that are not super budget, but like I said before with the Ice Dragon's Prison, you can definitely play other stuff to really make the main deck fully, like, really budget. And as far as the extra goes, the only thing I think is, like, honestly, like a must-have, and it really hurts, is access code. Access code is, like, too good in the deck not to play. We've seen this before. Like, strikers are going to put 3 to 5 different attribute links in the grave. And so you're just going to be able to pop infinite cards with this card. And that's just too good to pass up on. It's like a legit, it's generic, but god damn it, it's like just straight up the best boss monster that strikers could have gotten. So I do think access code is mandatory. Now where these two come in is where I think like they don't have to be necessarily as mandatory, right? Zeus mainly comes up because you can Shark Cannon or Ice Dragon's Prison back one of your opponent's monsters from their grave. So if you're playing anything that plays Exceed monsters, you could just revive an Exceed, attack with it, and then in the main phase 2 overlay for Zeus. So it gets you into like a big house like board wipe card, you know, via using just something like Shark Cannon. Like Shark Cannon's already like getting you a resource, but then it turns into a Zeus. Just makes it a 1-card Zeus, and that's kind of crazy, especially taking advantage of your opponent's stuff. But I think overall it's more of a niche card. It's not going to come up all the time. Your opponent has to be on Exceeds themselves, as well as the fact that you'd also have to get away with attacking and then in main phase 2. And this deck is all about keeping cards on the field, like maintaining board presence, so you'd be sending all your stuff as well. So I do think Zeus is not 100% mandatory, and same thing with the BLS link. It's really nice, and it will just steal you duels, because if you make this with like any extra disruption, whether it's a Widow Anchor, whether it's just like a strike or an IDP or something, like this card's so scary because can't be targeted, can't be destroyed, and he's like non-targeting banishing something like every single turn he goes to attack. So he applies a ton of pressure. He's a very strong card. He will just steal you duels, and because you're playing the Eldritch engine, you're able to make him so freely. And yeah, so like I think if you have access to him, I would recommend playing him. But again, he kind of fits the same category as Zeus. They won't come up all the time. They're very nice to have, but you could just play stuff like Ningirsu, or you know what I mean, Unicorn, or whatever other like card you might want to play, Link 3 or whatever, that like, you know, would also work for you. But you obviously do not have to. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the deck profile. I really like strikers, but I just felt like pure strikers, nothing's really changed for him for a while, so I wasn't really interested in him. Then when I saw Josh's list, again, shout out to him, check him out, I was like, this is such a cool way to play it. The interactions are so strong, you get such crazy advantage, and it's a really cool control deck that doesn't even play hand traps, right? So I don't know. I think the deck's really cool. If you like strikers, definitely feel free to like try out this version of the build. I know a lot of people don't like Eldritch right now because it's like Dogmatica at this point. Like they're both just getting splashed in like every deck. But I don't know. I think this one's one of the more cool ones, at least in my opinion. So that's going to end it off here for me. today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff from me in the future. Subscribe to Josh's channel. Again, I'll try to put the link in the description. I hope that I'm not a dope and I forget, but I'll do my best to remember that. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. All right? Peace.